Welcome back to the Red Stool. And today we're going to be talking about My Hero Academia, chapter 310, Masters and Pupil. So, got a nice color page this chapter. It's Deku. He's all suited up. A good way to start off the chapter. And from the beginning, we can see that the vigilanteism, we're seeing more downs of there being so many vigilantes out and so many just untrained people who have access to support items, and they're kind of building up this gang mentality to what it looks like, because there's this, like, she seems to be some sort of tall dog hybrid lady, and she's fleeing from her apartment to hero school for shelter, because things originally didn't start off bad in this city, but things are getting worse. People are getting afraid. So she's fleeing in the middle of the night to try to get to shelter. And she gets attacked by this group of guys, and they're accusing her of being a villain. She tries to explain that I'm not a villain. I'm just trying to run away from safety. And they're like, no, we don't believe you. You're just saying that so you can attack us. And it looks like they're about to do some real damage before Deku, he's able to step in, and he resolves the situation nicely. He stops them from attacking her, and he comforts her. He's like, hey, this woman, she's not a threat to anybody. She's not doing anything. What are you doing? And he shoos them on their way. And of course, they're like, well, hey, she shouldn't be running around at night looking like that. And of course, so he picks up her umbrella and begins to comfort her and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure they're just as afraid as you are. And All Might, he pulls up, and of course Deku says, well, hey, go with him. He'll take you to the hero school. That way you'll be okay and you'll be safe. And he has this moment where they kind of talk to each other, and she's like, things are getting so bad now. Do you think they'll ever get better again? And, Deku goes to see, he's like, yes, I'm going to make sure that things get better. And it's nice to see, of course, where his head is with everything, and how, he's taking a lot of the responsibility for the way society is. And since he has One for All, he has to save society. He has to step up, he's here, it's his time. And before he goes on his way, All Might, he gives him is like a little lunchbox. He's like, hey, here, it's cold out, make sure you eat, keep your spirits up, be careful, because of course Deku, he's still distancing himself from everyone, just because he knows that he could be attacked at any given time by Shigaraki, All For One, who knows? So he's just keeping his distance from everyone that, he really cares about. And, he's kind of having this lone moment on top of a skyscraper, just looking over the dark city. And that girl, the fifth user, Blackwit, he pops up next to Deku, and he's saying, hey, this reminds me of my time and during the advent of the exceptional. It's almost as if they've gone back in time to those darker days. And so we go back into the One for All realm. That's the name that's been given to the room that's slowly forming with past users in it, where they're speaking to Deku. And we get another conversation between Yoichi, which is, we were given the little brother's name. His name is Yoichi. I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, forgive me. I'll get it right eventually. Just let me know. But he's having a conversation with the two users that are pressed up against the wall. So he turns to them and he's saying, hey, come help out. He needs as much help as he can get for everything that's about to come. And, we find out why they have their backs turned to him. Because, they understand that Deku, his priority is to save Shigaraki. Of course, he wants to beat All For One, but he feels as though, Shigaraki needs saving because of, everything that's happened with his past and how he understands him as a person. And he was like, okay, you've been manipulated, your entire life. And maybe, you just need to be shown that there is something else out there for you. You don't have to be a villain. You don't have to just destroy everything. And, I feel like if Shigaraki was to have his decay quirk taken away from him, then maybe just, he could live a better life, and he could lose that part of his personality because, since they say, your quirk carries some of, your personality and your traits with it. Maybe he could lose that part of himself that's filled with so much hate. My personal theory, but they resent Deku for that choice just because they're the second and the third user. And their era was when All For One was at his strongest, when he was running most of the underworld and most of Japan in general. Either you worked for him knowingly or you didn't. We all know what type of person he is. He's very coercive, very tricky. So he was running most of Japan. And this was way before there was a hero society, villains, or this or that. So they were in an all-out war, to where as though they had gathered some strong allies to fight against All For One, and they were killing each other. Like that was it. Like he says, I killed countless. I killed countless people. It was a part of it. It wasn't some, let's go be heroes and like there's a press conference and I have a plushie and, I have marketing deals. No, it was a life and death war that they were fighting. And in fighting that war is when they find Yoichi and they break into that room where All For One kept him locked up. And as he sees him, he's pointing his support weapon at him, like he's ready to kill him. But he can see him and he sees, what, you're okay, you're All For One's little brother, but you're not like him. You're like, you can be saved. You don't carry any of his ideals. We can help each other. And, he reaches out his hand and he helps him up and he joins their alliance against his brother. And that's where he says, what, that's where One For All was truly born, and you helping me and, helping me to become stronger, be a hero. And then I was able to pass down my quirk to you. And we were able to build this up from that. You saying that Deku is just a foolish boy who's trying to save, our mortal enemy. That's not the case. You shouldn't look at it that way because you saved me and I'm the brother of your mortal enemy. So Shigaraki can be saved just as well as anyone else can. And, we should just put faith in him. So after they have that brief conversation, then it's like, at this point, I kind of realized that this, like the room that they're in, it looks exactly like the room that Yoichi was locked up in, that All For One put him in. So I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what this is slowly turning into. It's that same room that he was locked in all those years. So cool little nugget Horikoshi threw our way. I don't know if anybody else picked up on it earlier, but I'm just getting to it now. It's a nice piece of writing. But so Deku, they appear back before him and they're like, okay, you know what, get ready, boy, because things are about to pick up. Things are about to be going a lot faster. And I still believe that both of them, the second and the third user, have battle-ready, powerful quirks that, are more than capable of killing someone because just of the era that they grew up in and how they were able to wage a war against All For One at the height of his power. So that's why I think this sets them apart from the rest of the users. And I also noticed that, I'm going to call him the second, he's the only one with what looks to be support items, and they look like two cannons that he has on both of his arms. So whatever his quirk may be, maybe it'll segue nicely into how Deku, he has his gloves and he likes to use the finger flick moves for air pressure. Maybe, that could translate easier for him because, as we know, he does not have like a lot of room for error with, hurting himself with his quirk, because right now he's on the verge of being crippled if he pushes himself too far. Like we know overall with control wise, he's at about 45%. So maybe with these other two battle ready quirks, they'll help even it out to where as though, even though he's only at 45%, he can, fight back. He can fight with Shigaraki at least a little bit, because we know Shigaraki isn't at 100% with with the quirk transfer that he got from All For One. So I don't think they're going to be able to transcend and be able to get him to 100% just with the state that their organization's in right now. But I feel like it'll be a good fight between him and Deku once Deku's able to learn how to use these more offensive quirks. And this could be what he needs he can overpower Shigaraki, but also have enough control to not kill him. But also, he has to watch out because I think maybe, just maybe, at the end of this series, he might end up being crippled. Just because it keeps coming up. It keeps coming up to the point where the doctors are saying, hey, you're it's like little explosions are happening in your body, and no amount of what Recovery Girl can do is gonna fix like the damage. If you keep doing this, so you're gonna be crippled. So at the end of the series, at the end of that battle, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what ended up happening and Deku ended up becoming crippled. So I like this chapter. All in all, it was a lot of information given to us, a lot of little things. Horikoshi, he's steadily building us up to this climactic end battle between Shigaraki and Deku. And I'm liking it to where Deku, he's getting more powerful. We can see it. All right, he's only at 45% control with One For All, but now that he's about to get these 2 other new quirks, and like they said, everything's going to be coming at him fast, so he's going to need to learn fast. He might just stand a chance now to at least hold his own. And I'm just really hoping that it's a lot of hype that he's building. Horikoshi is building up a lot of hype to this last battle, so hopefully it lives up to all of that hype. Let me know what you guys thought of the chapter, and if you like the video, follow me on TikTok, and I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace.